Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out 7 ways British and American cold and flu remedies are very different.
And even on the inside of the mug, it says tea makes everything better. That's what Winnie the Pooh seems to think. Guys, this video is... save yourselves now and click off.
Hello, Kaylin. 1 second.
Oh, welcome back to the Girl Gone Legend channel.
Hello.
The sick edition, inspired by the fact that I am ill / what we would call sick in America, but we'll get to that in a minute. And I thought, how am I going to sit here and film one of my regular videos? And then I realized I'm not. I'm just going to go with it. And
go with
the
it.
bit
Use
is that
it.
I'm sick, and we can talk about the differences in cold remedies and sickness between the UK and the USA. And before you feel too bad for me, I am not strictly confined to my bed. I did have to lug over a bunch of books and games to stack the camera on top of in order to make this work, but I am more comfortable than my normal filming location, and it just makes sense because I've got my blanket, which is my inspirational blanket, my favorite patch, which says, "May you always reach and grow towards your dreams." This is actually probably too inspirational and banned in the UK, and somehow I snuck it in, but that can be between you and me. Anyway.
Y'all, let's all pitch in and get Kaylin a tripod so she doesn't have to stack her camera on a bunch of boxes and games. Tripod.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but there's no script to this one because I'm sick and I can't be bothered. So I've written some things down. I would also like to point some things out. For instance, this is not on the script. However, I do have a lot of cold medicine. This is like not even, I don't have a family of like 12. This is not even the bulk of it because I live in fear of getting sick. So when it happens, I'm ready. This is a UK product. This is not an endorsement. Lemsip First Action. Now, it says it helps stop a cold early, which I'm accepting that they could probably only say if it was proven in studies. However, you as a consumer would actually never know if it works for you or not because you had no idea how long your cold was going to last anyway.
Right. I was just thinking that. Y'all, cold and flu remedies are really like, how do we know they're working? How do we know our body didn't just naturally get rid of them? And there's something, I feel like I just heard a news report about ingredient that we found doesn't work. FDA proposes ending use of decongestant found in many cold and allergy medicines. The Food and Drug Administration proposed ending the use of a common ingredient in many popular over-the-counter cold and allergy medications because it doesn't actually relieve nasal congestion. The FDA said the proposed order is not final yet, which means companies can still market over-the-counter drugs containing oral phenylephrine. Okay, that sounds illegal. A final order will force pharmacies to clear shelves of hundreds of products containing oral forms of the ingredient, which is found in versions of drugs such as NyQuil, Benadryl, Sudafed, and Mucinex. These are the most popular brands. Let's find a Wikipedia about this stuff. Phenylephrine.
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 American.
Phenylephrine.
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 Phenylephrine. Okay. Phenylephrine. Phenylephrine doesn't actually relieve nasal congestion. See? This goes to show she's right. How do you know? We would never know. You know?
So I'm a little bit dubious. Okay, so let's talk about how people in the UK and the USA talk about illness or recover from colds or illness. First thing on my list is actually to do with children, so I do not take this medication, but there's something called Calpol, which I think I've mentioned in videos before. Calpol is paracetamol for children, which to an American is Tylenol for children, and it is just called children's Tylenol in the USA. But the reason I mention it is because I feel like Calpol is like seen as the cure-all for every children's illness in the UK, and I had no idea what it was. And if you're a British person who's on holiday in America, do not ask for Calpol because they will have no idea what you mean. So
yeah, wait, is it Calpol, P-U-L-L, or Pool, P-O-O-L? Calpol. Calpool? Oh, look. A cow in a pool. That can't be it. I'm not seeing anything about cow pole or cow pool. I don't know what this is.
Do not ask for cow pole because they will have no idea what you mean.
Pole?
So
that time I heard pole. P-O-L-L. No? I don't know.
Actually, if you asked for paracetamol, they'd also not know what you mean. So.
Right. Oh, wait. Okay, a pharmacist would know, I'm sure, but the rest of us would look at you clueless. Yes, that's true.
I don't know what you're gonna do. But Tylenol is the brand name for paracetamol, which Americans call acetaminophen. And so in America, we don't know what Calpol is. That was basically the point of this ramble. Next on my list, I did mention paracetamol versus acetaminophen. However, I have mentioned this before, and I'm not sure I've shown this on screen. So, here in the UK, this is a paracetamol packet. I think 2 of these came in a box. That's the maximum that I could buy in one packet. Perhaps I could buy 2 boxes, but it is limited. In America, you can buy 500 at once. I'm not even sure I've opened this because who needs that much paracetamol, but I do tend to buy things in bulk when I go to the US. So there is a reason why the UK has limited the sale, and it's to do with people using overdoses of paracetamol to harm themselves. In America, that law has not come into place. So yes, this contains 500 caplets. Okay, that's also a funny thing.
Scissorp, y'all. You know what scissorp is? Scissorp. National Institute of Health. The substance combination of and commonly referred to as scissorp has been identified as a method that some individuals use to cope with PTSD. Oh, really? Oh, I thought it was like Lil Wayne's drink. Oh. Yo, I need some paracetamol, some cowpole. Pole.
Guys, this video is, save yourselves now and click off, really. I feel like here they're called, oh yeah, I could just read the labels.
Don't click off.
In America, we call them caplets. In the UK, they call them capsules. And
Caplets.
Americans call them pills, but Brits tend to call them tablets. And I'm not saying that a British person wouldn't use the word pill as well, but Americans don't really call them tablets. Anyway, this is fascinating. So here's a giant bottle of American acetaminophen / paracetamol, and the same goes for ibuprofen. So this is 500 tablets of 200 milligrams of ibuprofen. And it's the same in the UK. You can only buy like blister packs like these. So I do buy them in bulk when I go to America. Okay, this isn't Lemsip brand. This is
Y'all, I feel sick just from listening to her congested voice and having this hoodie on.
Okay, this isn't Lemsip brand. This is Asda brand because I'm a cheapskate. But imagine this says Lemsip. It's the same kind of thing.
Lemsip.
So these British people, there's not any in here for show and tell. So I don't know why I still have the box. But here is what they would call a sachet. And essentially, it's paracetamol and phenylephrine that you mix into a mug, and it comes as a powder.
Is that the stuff we were looking up? Phenylephrine. Yeah, phenylephrine. It doesn't work, y'all. It doesn't work. Don't use the Limsim.
America doesn't really have an equivalent. I know. I looked it up. I really was only exposed to this concept of having like a powder cold medicine in water when I moved to the UK.
There's a Goodies powder. Goodies headache powder.
There's probably something somewhere in America that is kind of similar, but I feel like we mostly go for either the liquid or pill-based medicine, and not so much this, which I feel like a lot of people in the UK are going to be really shocked by. Now, my personal feelings on the matter and why I didn't realize that there aren't even any in here is that A, I do not like hot drinks, which we'll get to in a second, and B, I feel like this does nothing. Maybe I've tried it once, and I just felt like it wasn't as strong as I wanted.
Kaylin, you don't like hot drinks? Tea, coffee, hot chocolate, hot cider, cow piss.
But I feel like this is a very popular British cold/flu medication taken in your mug with hot water. Not really done in the US in the same way. Also, on the topic of hot drinks, this is my Winnie the Pooh mug, which
Adorable.
I'm unclear if I've ever used because I don't actually enjoy hot drinks or tea And that is a very popular way of making yourself feel better from all things in the UK.
Yeah.
And even on the inside of the mug, it says tea makes everything better. That's what Winnie the Pooh seems to think.
And honey. But I love a hot drink when I'm sick because the vapors get up in my nostrils and liquefy the phlegm.
But I don't enjoy it, so it's empty. And I was gonna fill it up and like pretend for the bit like I was drinking it, but I'm not. So this is real life.
Don't pretend.
It's empty. This is just for show and tell to show you that I don't like hot drinks. Except for maybe twice a year I'll have a hot chocolate, and that's it. That's me done. Next on my list, if you can even call this a list. In the US, we tend to say that we're sick as opposed to saying that we're ill. Saying that you're ill in the US just sounds like you're trying to be fancy. We would say that we're sick. In the UK, though, sick...
If an American says they're ill, it makes it sound like they have a chronic disease, like they need to go to the hospital.
In the UK, though, sick has a different meaning. Typically, being sick in the UK is throwing up, basically. And so I guess if you're... being sick means to throw up.
Okay.
Being sick in the US does not mean that. It means like we would consider that like a cold or flu type of illness, being sick. So that's another language difference to keep in mind.
I was when she said the term being sick in the UK is different, I thought she was going to say that it means like you're mentally unstable. That guy's sick. But I guess they would say that guy's mad. He's mad. Mad means crazy in the UK, doesn't it? Here it just means angry.
The other thing I wrote down regarding pronunciation, there is an ingredient in some cold and flu medicine, which we'll get to in a second, we'll talk about it, is this ingredient. We pronounce it differently in the US and the UK. In the US, we tend to say something similar to pseudoephedrine, and in the UK, they say something closer to pseudoephedrine, so there's another pronunciation difference for you.
What? I've never heard of this substance. Pseudoephedrine? Used to relieve nasal congestion caused by colds, allergies, and hay fever. I have hay fever, y'all. Maybe I need to get some pseudoephedrine. The fact that it says pseudo makes it sound fake. Oh, Sudafed. Yeah. Y'all, one time when I was in high school, my girlfriend had a children's Tylenol container filled with Sudafed. On the bottle, it said to take 8 of them, so I took like 8 Sudafed, thinking I was taking children's Tylenol. And you know what? It didn't do anything to me. I didn't feel a thing.
Okay, speaking of cold medicines in the UK and the USA, I don't have the full research as I normally do on this. You guys, I'm trying my best to just function.
You're doing great.
If you know all of it, please comment below and let us know.
Great,
however, there are some cold ingredients that are more easily accessible in the US than in the UK, at least until like recent times. And there are a lot of ingredients that are only behind the counter, including something like pseudoephedrine or pseudoephedrine, because it can be used to make drugs, which I don't know from personal experience, I Googled that. However, I still have a belief, and this is possibly just placebo effect, but I have seen it other places on the internet, that American cold and flu medicine is somehow stronger than UK cold and flu medicine. Now, I think this might just be related to the access that we would have in the US to certain cold or flu medications or ingredients without a prescription. It's not that you can't get it in the UK from a doctor or pharmacist. Again, if you know more about the subject, please leave it below. But what I'm getting to is I do have a couple like UK-based things, Lemsip, which I don't use. This is my American stash of American cold medicine. And I just feel like it hits harder. I just feel like it gets rid of my symptoms better. I don't know if this is true, though. I'm not saying it's true.
It's probably not true.
I'm just saying it feels true to me. And also, these pills are giant. They're like horse pills.
Yeah.
They are difficult to take unless you're good at taking pills.
Kaylin, those are suppositories.
But it's worth it for whatever magic is in these. And finally, the second to last difference on my list is that when we measure temperatures in the UK, we measure in Celsius, and when we do in the US, we measure in Fahrenheit.
Makes
so
sense.
I still don't know, without looking it up, what a fever counts as in Celsius, whereas I know that in Fahrenheit we consider about 100 or 100.4 Fahrenheit to be a fever. So when I first moved to the UK and the thermometer that I had was in Celsius, I was like, I have no idea what this reading means. I could literally be on fire or the coldest person ever. I have no idea.
I gotta look that up, don't I? What Celsius is considered a fever? 36.4 to 37.2. Okay.
For the record, about 38 Celsius is considered a fever. That brings me to my final point, which is the foods that we like to eat when we're sick in both countries. Everyone's gonna have like their parents' favorite remedy or like what grandma used to feed you when you were sick.
McDonald's.
But in the US, it's kind of like a cultural thing that we think of chicken noodle soup as like the cold remedy.
Yes.
I don't really like chicken or meat, so I grew up having noodle soup that...
Kaylin, you don't like chicken or meat? Chicken is meat, first of all. She doesn't like hot beverages or meat. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just surprised. I've seen a lot of Girl Gone London videos and she's never mentioned it. I'm just surprised. But now that I'm thinking of it, yeah, I've never seen her eat or heard her talk about loving meat. Please continue.
I don't really like chicken or meat, so I grew up having noodle soup that looked like this, that came from a packet when I was sick. And I do hear people in the UK talk about soup in general as a great thing to have when you're sick. But I feel like people have different kinds of soups that they enjoy when they're sick. Whereas in America, it's just in the culture that we think of this specific type of soup, chicken noodle soup, when you're sick. In the UK, when I looked this up, there are multiple different things. Some people say soup, some people say beans on toast, some people say toast. So I'm not sure if culturally the UK all agrees on like one iconic food when you're sick. But please leave your suggestions below. Maybe I'll use them. Maybe somebody else can use it for your favorite cold or flu remedy. Now that brings me to the end of this video, which was honestly a hot mess the whole way through, which is very appropriate for how I feel right now. So we'll see if I can save it in the edit. So stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Let's send Kaylin well wishes. She's probably fine by now. Or Dad. This was interesting. I'm surprised that chicken noodle soup is an American thing. I thought that was universal. I was just sick last week and I ate chicken chili. No noodles. Beans instead of noodles. You know who never gets a cold? Lil Wayne. Because he's always drinking that scissorp, y'all. Actually, I think he stopped. Drinking the scissorp. Rapper Lil Wayne released from hospital after seizures linked to reported use of scissorp. It gave him seizures, y'all. Rapper Lil Wayne has been released from a Los Angeles hospital where he was taken after suffering a seizure last week. The 30-year-old rapper's hospitalization triggered a frenzy of media reports that he was near death after suffering multiple seizures and having his stomach pumped when doctors found high amounts of in his system. The rapper has professed his love for the prescription drug in multiple public venues and in some of his most popular rap songs in the form of scissorp, which usually involves mixing prescription cough syrup containing the narcotic with soda and sometimes hard candy like Jolly Ranchers. I'm not going to read the rest of it. Don't take scissorp, y'all. I'll probably have to bleep a lot of that out for YouTube because the kids these days. Well, thank you all for watching this with me. If you made it this far in the video, how about giving me a like and subscribe? Maybe pick up a mug. I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee folks. Thanks for buying me coffees, which I'm drinking right now. Thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see you next time. Later.